What is up, everybody? My name is Dane Thompson, and I build and customize classic cars one at a time from my home 2-car garage. And today, I'm going to talk about your project car. Yeah, the one in your garage that's probably sitting under the blanket that has all the crap on top of it that you were gonna fix up at one point. Well, this is how you do it. These are my top 5 things that you need to do to get that car out of the garage and onto the street. To start is a budget. And you gotta set a realistic budget, not, I'll just put money into it as I go. You need to figure out a total amount of how much expendable money, and remember, you're not getting this back. This is a project car, hobby, whatever. And you need to set a realistic budget for how much expendable money that you have. Some guys, they don't really have a ceiling. It's way up here, and then majority of guys are like here, and then there's the other dudes that you shouldn't even think project car. You should think, I should probably get a job and then maybe save up and then maybe think project car and not try to drive that daily project car, but that's a whole nother story. So the first thing you need is a budget, and you need to set a realistic one, and then in all real reality, whatever that budget is, you need to be over it. So maybe shoot a little bit lower, so when that 20-30 extra percent comes in at the finish line, you're not caught with your pants down, if you know what I mean. So the second thing on my list, and I think this is a real important one, is buy the best car you can. Buy somebody else's money is what I like to say. What I mean by that is, if you buy a car that somebody already has running and driving that might need just paint and body and interior, or maybe it's all complete but you don't really like the wheels and tires, and maybe the stance is off, those are items that you can just correct, and then you can have a car and you're good to go. Granted, it's going to cost more, but the car's already at that state. If you drag a car out of a field and try to get that on the road, you got to look at the difference in price. So that same car that's sitting in a field versus the one that's able to drive down the road, not leak fluids everywhere, actually has brakes and turns and has signals and is somewhat safe, versus the car that's in the field where the rats ate all the wiring, the gas tank is plugged, maybe 2 of the 4 brakes work. All those things have to be corrected before it's safe. Plus, all your registration and fees, those are all things, I've even overlooked those. You get this car, you're all fired up, and then everything's done, and you're making those laps around the block illegally, or allegedly illegally. You decide it's time to take it, we gotta get on the road with this thing because I can make it around the block. Let's drive it 20 miles, right? Well, you go down and get your cheapo insurance, figured you'll put some tags on it, well, bam, the DMV comes back and is like, hey, this thing hasn't been registered. I know the guy told you it was non-opt, right? How many times we heard, oh, it's on non-opt. Yeah, they're not. It's all back fees. So take that into consideration when you drag that turd out of the field. You might have more problems than not. And when the guy shakes his head and says, oh, this thing it's non-opt, it's non-opt. It's not non-opt. The third thing on my list is your goal with the vehicle. Have a set specific goal. And what I mean by that is, what do you want to achieve with this thing? Do you want to go sit in a parking lot and look cool? Do you want to just lay it out somewhere or drag the bumper somewhere? Do you want it to hop, a lowrider? Do you want to go have a truck that can jump over stuff? Do you just want to get ice cream with it? Do you want to do burnouts? You want it to do wheelies? Do you need it to do autocross? Do you want to drag race it? Whatever it is you want to do with this car, that should be your end game goal. And then also, I'll break it down a little bit further because that's kind of broad. So if you want to drag race the car, what, you want it a bracket car? How fast does it really need to go? Because the problem is, a lot of the time with setting a goal, is if you are really broad, you're not kind of specific, and you have a point of where it should go, you're gonna self-sabotage, because you're always gonna push that envelope to get further and further along, and at a certain point, you just end up buying parts and the thing never goes, and then your excuse is, I have too much money, this thing's not going anywhere. Well, you don't have a realistic goal. If you want a race car, but you also want to drive it around in the 91 traffic to and from here and there, and you want AC, and then go jump it, and then you want a low ride, it's like, you got to have a specific goal. You can't really have your cake and eat it too. You can to a point, but that goes back to budget. So just have a realistic goal of what you want to do. If you want the car to run 10s and you want to be able to sit in traffic and then you want to be able to drive it on the freeway, you can do all those things, but you're going to have to plan accordingly. So transmission, motor, power package, drivetrain, all that sort of stuff. Again, that all goes with having a plan and a goal, and if you have a specific goal, that'll keep you from self-sabotaging, which is those pesky part upgrades. When you have a part and you're like, this is good enough, and then a couple months later you're like, well, I'm going to upgrade that. You never even used it. Why'd you buy the first one? Just have a specific goal and just go get those items as you need them. That way you get to the goal. Don't just buy something because it's okay now just to have it, and then later on you buy something that's better than the one that you bought that's new that you haven't even used. Pointless. Now you're just wasting money. And then you're going to eat up your budget. We're back to number 1. You're already failing the class. Pay attention. Step number 4 is who's doing the work. And I know you're watching this going, well, I'm a car guy, I'm going to do it. Well, the reality is there's going to be either things you're not comfortable doing or you just flat out don't want to do. Here's 2 quick ones I can name right off the top of my head. Electrical and body work. Go ahead, say it. I don't want to do electrical, or maybe you do, but do you really want to sand a car down? Probably not. A lot of guys don't like that portion. I like it to a point, and even me, I'm good at it, I like doing it. I still get to the point when I'm like, God, I don't want to sand this thing anymore. So figure out who's going to help you with the items that you don't like to do so you can get kind of on their schedule, because the reality is if they're worth their weight in gold, they're going to have people waiting for their services. So you need to talk to the guy, know who's going to do what portion. That way, when he's ready for the project, you can pass it off, get it back, keep this thing on track so you can actually finish it this century. The 5th and final thing is expectation versus reality. If you have an old car and you put a bunch of new parts on it, you don't have a new car, you got an old car with new parts, right? You put them together, that's what you get. You don't have an old car that's 60, 70 years old that's gonna perform like a brand new car because you have a brand new car motor in it. Well, you have an old chassis, an old body, old everything else. And chances are, you're not taking it to the point of making that old car completely new. Build it for the reason you like it, because of the unburnt fuel smell, the old car smell, because you like rolling with the windows down and not having that luxury of AC 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Maybe you like doing burnouts. Maybe you like loud exhaust. Whatever it is you're trying to achieve with it, just remember, it's an old car with new parts. It's not a new car. It's never gonna be a new car. So just enjoy what you got. If you like this video, don't forget, click that chicken. And if you want to see more videos like this on other topics, I'm all ears. Leave a comment.